In a world full of delusion, anyone can be anything. You can claim to be this, but you can claim to be that. But the question is, whatever you claim to be, have you gone through the storm? Because storms reveal characters. You claim to have studied in a particular course, and you get to the job. Then the practical side of things happen. Then you realize maybe this is not what I signed up for. Let's say you decide to cheat your way through an exam and you do pass. And now you get the job that is what you chose to steal. Now you have to be, let's say you're starting off, you don't have to be a managerial, starting off. And then you realize what you signed up for, what you stole in those exams. Now this is your reality. Now you can't keep up because people are having high expectations because you did pass those exams. But you can't put up with the pressure, because in a world where people claim to be this and that, all you need is a storm. The strength of any government is, can it withstand the storm? Internal conflicts, unsatisfaction by the citizens, projects that never came to be. How do you solve diplomatic issues? How do you solve questions and propaganda? How do you cool down people? How do you step up to be who you claim to be? How do you deal with natural disasters? That's when you know if your government is still strong. Let's say in a company, you've been getting those good benefits, those allowances. You are happy, you're clapping. And then something happens, a storm happens, like the lockdown, and then now company has to go back to do its books. Which benefit, which allowance? Then you start realizing that your company was actually too dependent on taking one insurance for another insurance, not paying the creditors in due time, and cooking those books. Now all of a sudden, you're not sure if you worked in a company or in a Ponzi scheme. Well, it's already too late. And worst case, if you're in a very senior level, you're in for a big one, because, the revenue authorities are on your neck. The criminal investigation is on your neck. The employees are on your neck. The creditors are on your neck. Now it's not so happy after all. Many relationships before the lockdown, before many people's eyes were beautiful, amazing, you'd even desire. When the lockdown happened, people had to look at each other. Now, all that beauty, all that money gone. Why? We can't spend it out there, because you can't live to a particular, depending on different countries. Other countries it was so bad. In other countries, there was a laxity. But now this is the person you have. Hence, since that time to this very day, DV shot up to this very day, because now people are broke, and people are broke. It's not like they're line broke, they're broke. So sometimes I used to remember when you're driving, and someone on the outside would think you have money, or they don't know the amount of fuel you put in that car. You're praying to your God that it takes you to where you're supposed to go. Because should anything happen, there is a traffic jam, there is a diversion route, there is anything, that fuel goes down, you are cooked. But the person walking, the pedestrian, the cyclist, the rider looking at you, they're like, wow, I want to be in that car, I want to drive. You in the car, you're like, my God, how can I put this car far away? Can I carry? And the worst is those traffic jams that are for 3-4 hours, where you want to pee, but you're like, do I use a bottle? Do I open the door? Where do I run? And then, not only that's the problem, now you have a diversion to avoid a particular area. And remember, you are praying to your God that tank, or let's say you're driving and you have one flat tire and already the other rim is cooked. And you're thinking, how do I get to the next place? You see, storms reveal our true character. You can be in a profession and claim to be in a particular profession until you go through that storm. As a former mechanic and someone who deals with cars here and there from time to time, sometimes someone would call me and say, hey, we are going to a particular yard or something. We've seen this in a particular website. They would send me the link. I'll look at it. I'll look at the car, and I just laugh. And then I will always tell them, which I always do to this date, I always tell someone, if you are going to like look for a car, can we like take a full day and make sure no other distractions? We're just dealing with car, and give me the routes. I look up the routes, and I tell them, fine, let's go and go show me. Let's look for this first. Let's start with the cars that you showed me. Let's go check them up. And some of these cars are normally put on the car sales people when they're selling off. And these cars are the ones you have to be very careful on. They're normally put on the outside. So they're the cars inside the yard, they're the cars outside the yard. Those ones, there's a specific one that's normally more marketed. That's digitally, and then physically. It's actually on the outside. That one, you have to be very careful with that one. And I remember in one case, this guy, the one who wanted to buy the car, he was all over the place. He had not done the whole bank's issue. So I'm looking at the car, I'm like, relax, I'm a former mechanic. The things I need to check. First thing, I look at the areas that the car's been spray painted. I'm like, interesting. I go to the mountain of the car, I look at it. I tell the guy, let me look at the area of the dashboard, the specific things I'm looking for. I look at how the area has been mounted. I look at the door. I go to the rims. I look at the type of rims, and then I look at the name of the tiles. So you realize one is this name, that is the other name, that's the other name, that's the other name. And I don't look at any tile. I look at the underside of the tile. I go and look at the exhaust. I'm like, this exhaust, when I look at it, it's not so long ago someone had to mend it. So that tells me the car that's been sold outside has an issue. Hence why it's at a lower price in comparison to the ones inside. So I'll tell the salesperson, show me the same car, but the one inside. And the guy would always be hesitant. I'm like, show me the one inside. I don't want the one outside. I want the one inside. And then I'll go to specific things. Then I'm getting, this is what I want. I'm like, the one outside, you want to cook my guys. Because in this life, anyone can claim anything. We've seen this, but we never get a glimpse of, the yacht kind of party, the yachting thing. Let's remove the servants. Let's remove the captain. Let's go to the guests sometimes. And you'll see one of these ladies, and whether they're influencers and all, and they're like, wow, what a life. When I grow up, I want to have a yacht. Very naive when you think about it. You think it's just a yacht. And then you sit down and ask yourself, hold up. When all these people talk about they go to these yachts, everything is well paid for. Who on earth will just pay for you everything just to come to a yacht? And then after this, all of a sudden, you are moving cars and houses and stuff that don't really make sense. And the kind of people you are meeting are like, really? And then you realize, just like have the person on the streets selling, you know what I mean? There's the other one who has a sugar this or a sugar that selling to get the, you know what I mean? And then you have the escort side, whether it's being flown from one place to another, you know what that means. And then you have the one in the water, and you know what that means. Once you get your dots, you don't need to. Same industry, just different features. And then you sit back and realize how many people get fooled thinking this is they've seen something that's good, only to realize there is a price to pay. You hear people say, I'm a queen, I'm a king of this or that or this. Do you know the price of being a royalty? Do you know the secrets you have to die with? Do you know the things you have to approve of, the lifestyle you have to live, the fake smiles, and even maybe the good time? But the fact is, are you ready to carry the weight that comes with it? You want to be a leader. Are you ready for the day that the people you're leading will tell you, oh, my friend, you're going down? Are you ready for the time that everything goes against you? You say in that relationship, many people are running for marriage as if marriage is an anesthetic, something you can just put a tag on. Are you ready for that person who you claim that you want to jump into marriage with? What happens when they get ill? What happens when the money is gone? What happens when an incident happens and they're gone? Do you know the same people who are saying, oh, congratulations, they'll be the first one to point fingers and say, arrest that person? What's going to save you? Unless you used to be that person who doesn't know how to walk and talk with people well. Oh, you're going for a good one. You're getting locked up. By the time they know you are not guilty, man, your life has been... And even after being released, it doesn't end like that. Because in this life, unless there's a storm, we never know the true character. We don't know the strength of a plane. It needs that storm. You don't know the strength of a ship. It needs that storm. Strength of a boat, that storm. That house that looks so beautiful. That foundation, you need that storm. I remember in term of a house, there's a guy, it was a rainy time, I think it's 5 years ago. And after the heavy rain, the guy came to realize the only thing that was holding his house was sand, nothing else. And that's life. So in the life that we live, be very careful to desire what's out there. First, be contented, because who we are will be determined by the weight of the storm, because storms reveal our true characters, and that you can never run away from, because it is what it is.